Hello everyone, I'm Brior and welcome back to Goodgame Empire. In today's video, I'd like to talk to you about the Hall of Legends. It's this building right here in my castle. You can first build the Hall of Legends upon turning level 70, and then, as you continue to gain legendary levels, you will unlock upgrades. You can upgrade the Hall of Legends 549 times, and you can see that I have finished upgrading mine right here. Upgrading this building will require a lot of resources, but if you're still working on that, I would recommend attacking the foreign invaders and/or the Blood Crows. The reason for this is that they will get you a lot of kingdom resources in the Great Empire. Furthermore, by doing this, you will collect glory points, and these will help you satisfy a certain repeatable quest in your quest book called No Time for Weaklings. This will give you 5,000 legendary experience points, and that's how a lot of players level up. But as you can see, I'm done with that as well. So let me go ahead now and open up my Hall of Legends. I'd like to talk to you about different setups in today's video. None of my points are currently invested in any perks, as you can see. And when your Hall of Legends is in this state, with points remaining, you want to be very careful about where you move your mouse, because even brushing against any of these icons is liable to invest points in them. And once you have points invested in any of these skills you don't want, clicking the reset button will cost you 18,000 rubies, or you'll have to wait 2 weeks. So be very careful. Now, as you guys know, on the US 1 server right now, there is a massive war going on, and I would like to have some points invested in the Hall of Legends defense mode. I don't normally do it this way. Rather, I have all of my points invested into the attack. In today's video, I will talk to you about a balanced setup between the attack mode and the defense mode, one that will give you 6 waves, but will allow you to put extra troops on your wall. However, if you want your Hall of Legends to be configured to give you the most powerful attacks, we'll talk about what I would do if that happened to be me. And if you want your Hall of Legends to give you the strongest possible defense, we'll talk about that as well. But let's get going, because there's a lot to talk about regardless. Alright, so you can see that we are currently on the Hall of Legends attack mode, and I want to make sure that I get to the 6th wave. That is this skill right here. It's called Battle Thirsty, and to get to it you need to spend 360 points. You can also spend more, but let's not do that for now. The way the Hall of Legends works is that there are 5 different tiers. To unlock the most powerful abilities, which are often found in the bottom 2 tiers, you need to put points into the tiers that are above them. So let's go ahead and do that. Right now we have 4 different options: Gate Smasher, 5-Finger Discount, Honor and Duty, and Iron Fist. Honor and Duty is a interesting skill to have if you want to be annoying and steal a lot of your enemy's honor. However, it's not very useful just as a regular skill, so let's disregard that for now. I know on other servers, i.e. not US 1, a lot of players invest points into the skill Gate Smasher, which of course reduces the enemy's castle gate protection. However, I haven't found this to be very useful. If you do put points into Gate Smasher, let me know why in the comments below. The 2 skills that I do think are useful on the first tier are 5-Finger Discount, which gives you extra resources looted from NPC targets, and the Melee Combat Strength. 5-Finger Discount is one of the only skills in the Hall of Legends that applies against NPC targets. It used to apply against PvP targets, but that was back when players were farming resources from dead accounts. In other words, they would send oil or glass or whatever to those accounts and then attack those accounts to get more resources than those accounts had in their storehouses. So it was a way of multiplying resources and magically getting resources that didn't exist. Goodgame Studios removed that and changed this ability to apply against NPC targets, and because so much of the game involves attacking NPC targets, I highly recommend this skill. The only way I would not put points into this skill is if I was in a war, and I am. So why am I putting points into it, you might ask? Well, this server war promises to be a very long one. It's going to be going on for at least a number of weeks, perhaps a number of months, and if it lasts as long as it did last time, maybe even a few years. And so for that reason, I still want to be collecting resources and coins, so I'm going to put 8 points into 5-Finger Discount. I may come back to this skill later on and finish it off by putting 2 more points into it, but we'll put that on hold for right now. The other skill, as I mentioned, is Iron Fist. Now, each upgrade of this skill costs 4 points. You can see that we will need another 32 points allocated into the first tier to unlock the second tier. This means 40 points total. So let's go ahead and upgrade this 8 times. This extra melee combat strength, I think it's pretty obvious why it would be helpful, so I'm not going to explain that in detail. Alright, you can see that we've just unlocked our second tier of abilities. In order to unlock this master skill and keep moving down, we will have to spend 80 points in this tier. So let's go ahead and do that. You can see that I've moused over Annihilator. This will give you a small chance of destroying your enemy's buildings, i.e. their granaries. And this is not something that will affect your combat strength, but in a long war like the server war, this is a very good skill to have. It's one of the only ways that you can actually damage your opponents. I'm going to put 30 points to upgrade this all the way to the 6th level. Alright, these abilities here are all more or less useless. Penny Pincher can save you a lot of coins, or so I'm told, but I'm not too concerned about it, and I don't have many points to waste on convenience features, so I'm going to ignore that for now, and instead, I'll put points into Deadeye. This will give me some extra ranged soldiers' combat strength. I'll keep clicking this until I have put in enough points to unlock my master skill and move on to the 3rd tier. The 3rd tier is where things start to get interesting. We have to put 90 points into this tier to unlock the 4th tier. You have a few different options. The first is Ruthless. This will put extra soldiers on your front, and that means extra soldiers overall on your attack. The second option is Ferocious. This will increase your fire damage. However, fire damage is pretty easily extinguishable, and this might not even help you overcome an enemy's fire castell, and so personally, I don't think this is very useful. Legendary Experience is something that's not at all useful to me. Heart of Steel increases your melee soldier's combat strength, and Wallstormer increases your wall reduction. Of these abilities, I do think that Ruthless is a pretty clear winner, so I'm going to go ahead and upgrade this all the way, and then I believe we'll need to spend 15 more points to unlock the 4th tier. I will do that by clicking Heart of Steel twice. The alternative would be to click this 3 times, or maybe 1 each, but personally, wall reduction is not as important in my opinion, because that can be done with tools. If you're sending the right amount of tools on your attack, the wall will pretty much always be taken care of. So there you go, let's move on to the 4th tier then. This ability, Fleet of Foot, is pretty much necessary, so let's go ahead and upgrade that all the way. At this point, we want to pay attention to how many points we have remaining. We want to make sure that we can get the 6th wave. Then I will put 120 points into the defense mode. We'll talk about that in a moment. And then I'll come back to see if I can get the master skill. Alright, so to unlock this here, the 5th wave, we need to put in 50 more points. We have a few options. We could increase our courtyard combat strength. We could increase our glory points. Our return travel speed, we're not going to do that. And finally, our flank space. These abilities, these 3 at least, are all very helpful. Obviously, glory points aren't all that important during a war, but this is very helpful for the foreign invaders and Bloodcrow invaders as well. I think this is another kind of like bonus skill that we might come back to, but for now, I'm not going to put any points into this. Now, that leaves us with courtyard combat strength and flank space. Flank space is more important. You want to make sure that you can overcome all 3 sections of the wall. So let's go ahead and upgrade this 8 times. That will unlock our final wave. There we go. Here we have Battle Thirsty. As I mentioned earlier, that is the 6th wave of attack. We want to make sure that we get that. Boom. That leaves us 53 points to spend in the attack mode, so we're going to come back to this in just a moment. I believe we need 30 more points to unlock this master skill here, so we can do it. I'm excited. Alright, let's click on the defense mode real quick. As you can see, it's the same deal. We have to unlock skills in the 1st tier before we can move on. Gatekeeper is pretty good for setting up strong gate defenses. Melee combat strength is also really helpful. I wouldn't consider the other 2 options, but which one of these you pick is pretty much up to you. You can see that we need 40 points to move on to the second tier. Often, attackers will send 18 gate tools per wave on every wave in the center, and I don't think this will help you overcome that. So instead, let's invest in melee combat strength for now. I think that is a legitimate alternative, though. Alright, here we have Night Watch, which is City Guard, that's useless. Legendary Experience is useless. Travel Speed during occupations is useless. And Armed Citizens are useless as well. So you really only have one option here, and that would be Eagle Eye. So let's go ahead and do that. Now we've unlocked this Master Skill. It will increase the number of units on your castle wall by 10%. You've also unlocked the third tier of the defensive abilities. I could get some extra wall space. I could also get some extra fire reduction, but my fire castellans are pretty good, so I don't need that. Melee strength and wall protection are interesting as well, but I don't want to invest too much more in my melee, or in my defense rather, when I could be getting the second master skill for my attack mode. Of these abilities, Always Prepared is good to have. It will help you send extra tools on the flank. That means you can have extra mantlets, for example, to overcome somebody who might be using the ability Technical Innovator in the defense mode. We'll talk about that in a moment. However, I'm not going to be able to have the strongest attacks with this particular setup when I'm putting 120 points into the defense, so I'm going to ignore this one for now. Instead, Walking on Water is a terrific ability. Let's go ahead and upgrade that all the way, which will unlock this second master skill. It will also leave me with 23 points to spend on whatever perks I wish. It's a tough choice, perhaps. I think this would be really good to have upgraded 3 times, just because this server war, as I said earlier, is going to be a really long ordeal, and I need the ability to participate in the Bloodcrow and Foreign Invasions. Alright, so let me upgrade this 3 times. That will leave me with 2 points, and I'll come back and finish off 5-figure discount. Alright, let's talk about some of the other high-level abilities on the defense mode. I mostly covered everything with the attack mode, so there you are. In the 4th tier, we have some extra courtyard combat strength. This is good, but again, there are more important abilities, so you might not be putting points into this one. You might not be upgrading it to its fullest extent. This is useless as well, as is this one. Instead, you'll want to get extra units on your castle wall, so I would recommend putting points here. If you are going with a fully defensive mode Hall of Legends, I would consider putting points into melee combat strength on the 3rd tier, and instead getting extra wall space on the 4th tier. Unless your Castellan only has 507 units on the wall normally, in which case I would invest in as much wall space as I could. Moving on to the final 5th tier, Technical Innovator will put an extra tool slot on each of your flanks, which is amazing. And that is definitely the ability to get if you want to go full turtle mode, which if you are on the 5th tier of your defensive Hall of Legends, you are definitely going turtle mode, so you might as well get this one. Ranged combat strength is okay to have. Unbeatable is a really good skill. That is essentially the 6th wave of your defense, so invest in that one. And moat protection is epic as well, so I would probably get this first, and then this second, and then this third. And by the time you've invested in those abilities, you will definitely have the second master skill, Strong Will, unlocked. So there you go. That's what you should do if you want a fully defensive Hall of Legends, but I don't. Alright, I have 430 points in the attack mode, 120 points in the defense mode. I should be able to send very strong 6-wave attacks now, participate in my own alliance's mass attacks, and have a fun time. I do have a few event and NPC perks enabled, so I'll be well equipped to survive the server war in the long run, but I also have the ability to hold the flank against most any attack, and maybe I might even consider holding the gate. So there you go. I hope you enjoyed today's video. I hope you found it informative. If you did, please remember to leave a like and or subscribe to the channel. As always, I've been Brior. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.